I'm on my way to Chatteris in rural Cambridgeshire to see a garden centre that's hit rock bottom.
British gardeners now spend approximately £2 billion at garden centres and nurseries every year. This turnover has been steadily going up since 2008, so on the face of it, this is a business that is relatively recession-proof.
But that definitely wasn't the case for DJ's garden centre. Just 6 months ago, David and Lynne's business went bust.
Our turnover slumped by more than 50%.
It was forced into liquidation, owing £150,000 to its creditors.
Letting people down is not something we do lightheartedly, but we just could not carry on. It was an absolute nightmare.
With David crushed by his failure, he stepped aside, leaving eldest son Ross to take over and set up a new company.
Good morning, Garden Centre. How can I help?
But David is finding it hard to have someone else run the firm.
That's a nice sign for somebody to demolish at the weekend.
He doesn't like the decisions I make at all, and he shows it quite clearly.
Why are we doing this?
It's not my fault, is it?
It's horrible to see Ross and Dave go at it in front of customers.
I do try to make your life easy. You may not think so. I don't understand why we can't talk to each other, relate to each other. We don't want to be at war.
He loves his plants. No one better than him for that.
Try and keep these for next year.
He loves having customers, and there's no one better than him for that.
Cheers. See you then. Take care.
When it comes to running a business, there's probably no one worse.
Ross may have a better head for finance, but that is of absolutely no use if the cash till isn't ringing.
Bad news around here spreads so fast. Everyone in town thinks that we're still closed down.
Credit is hard to come by because of the liquidation, so Ross is struggling to find money to keep the business afloat.
I do feel a lot of pressure just trying to keep the place going. At the moment, we haven't got any money for the wages, so if we don't get it right, then everyone's going to lose their jobs.
With the business balanced so precariously, helping this garden centre spring into new life is going to be a huge challenge.
I've got lots of questions to ask, the main one being, what happened to this business that was so successful for 30 years to make it go down the tubes? And also, what are the family doing to make sure they don't repeat the same mistakes?
Based out of town and in one of the least populated areas of England, to attract customers, this business needs to shout loudly about what it does best.
Lots of adverts for fireworks and coal and logs. Doesn't give the best first impression, does it?
Even if you do manage to work out it's a garden centre, there's little to tempt you from the warmth of your car.
The plants are all half dead. So I've got hanging baskets in front of me. Look at the state of this. So this is pre-planted up. You've got a dead palm. Is this what you want people to think of as your garden centre?
It's been 6 months since Oak Garden Centre replaced the defunct DJ's, but the spirit of the dead business still haunts the place.
And they clearly haven't wholeheartedly embraced the changes, because here we have a sign for Oak Garden Centre, and here we have a sign for DJ's. Confused? I think so.
I'm hoping inside there are more encouraging signs that this business has managed to move on from the disaster that was DJ's.
Hi, Ross. Alex Polizzi, hello.
How's it going?
Hello.
Hi. You're Joe, right?
Yes.
Hi, Joe.
Nice to meet you.
So you're the manager? You
Yeah.
manage the
Yes,
place?
I am, yep.
So you're not really a gardener?
No, definitely not.
You're the business brains?
Well, trying to be, yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to having a look around.
Help yourself, see what we're made of.
The first place I head to is the greenhouse by the car park. And there is little here to lift my spirits.
Whoever thought these were a good idea should be severely punished. Well, I would pay not to have to take one of them home. We have a nice display of defunct drills over here. You too could do this at home.
The lasting impression is one of decay, dirt and decrepitude. And in pride of place is yet another reminder of the failed business.
Obviously, everyone's quite depressed here because you wouldn't normally leave something like that up. It is so obviously decrepit. Why would you have a very bad ad for a business that went into liquidation?
The next greenhouse is less depressing, but for a business so close to the edge, I'm worried about how they are spending the small amount of funds they do have.
There's a preponderance of stuff that I just can't see them selling that much of.
And more worryingly, there's not a customer to be seen in the whole 6.5 acres of the site, even though they're trying to tempt them in with low prices.
Everything seems to have a mega sale sign. It looks like a closing down sale. Look, mega sale, mega sale, mega sale, as far as the eyes can see.
It stinks of desperation, not a way to attract returning custom, and the last way on earth you want to promote a brand new business. Perhaps understanding where former owners, Dad David and Mum Lynne, think they went wrong will help me move this business forward.
I've just had a look around. Why is it that the first thing you see when you arrive is those half-dead baskets, hanging baskets? I mean, that isn't a great advert.
It is the worst time of the year. Everything he's looking at is worse.
I mean, I noticed there's still quite a lot of DJ's mega sale. You know, there's a lot. Yes, darling, I promise you. I mean, it looks like you're still in the process of closing down. No one likes to come somewhere that has the stench of failure. I'm sorry, darling, I don't mean to upset you. I mean, I'm sure you're still feeling a bit in mourning for the old company. It's not that long ago.
Unbelievable.
What was the hardest thing?
Letting people down.
Yeah.
The weather just beat us. We
Yeah.
had a hose pipe ban the Thursday before Easter,
Oh, I know.
and then 14 weeks without a good weekend in sight.
But, you know, as kind of successful company can normally weather a really bad storm.
Their business was relying too heavily on their core gardening products, leaving them not only vulnerable to the elements, but also running at a big loss during the quiet winter months.
Do you think that you were slow on catching on to the fact that garden centres, nurseries in general, have become less about plants and more about destination shopping?
I don't think we've been slow in thinking that, but we just maybe slow to change because we wanted to be more of a gardener's garden centre rather than a shopping mall.
So however sympathetic I am to your pain, I'm here to make sure that you're on the right path for future success and for the survival of the business. Yeah?
Look at me going now.
Don't you start. God.
Garden centres nowadays have reinvented themselves to offer products and services that are in demand year-round.
I suppose this must be the cafe, although there is no signage to indicate it.
Successful garden centres now take nearly 20% of their turnover from catering, so this should be a vital source of income.
I just wondered, how many people have you had in today?
There's not very many. It's not been very busy today. We've only had 2 people.
If this is a typical day here, far from helping them through the lean times, I doubt it's making any money. New manager Ross has had 6 months to breathe new life into this place, but right now, it looks as dead as their geraniums.
Hello. I mean, I have to say, my first impressions are that there still hasn't been a wholesale changeover to the new company.
Not really, no.
No. And then the other thing that is absolutely shocking is that greenhouse that you see as soon as you walk in.
Houseplants. I've wanted to close it down for about 2 years.
I mean, it's
know.
just a kind of dumping ground. And yet that's the first thing people see when they drive into your car park.
I shut the greenhouse down, put everything in here, half price or £1. I have a day off, they go around, take the signs off.
And does the cafe make any money?
No, cafe makes a loss every month.
Would you even know it was there unless someone pointed it out to you?
I don't run the coffee shop side of it. It's
Who
not
does?
Mum and Dad.
Who is it I talk to then to get things done? Do you know what I mean?
They still do whatever they want. Ultimately, if something goes wrong, I'm in charge. But if I want to get anything else done, especially with the plant side of it, I have to battle for months on end to try and get anything sorted.
Do you blame your dad for the old business going down?
He wasn't really financially minded, business minded. They never got themselves a cash cushion to survive.
You lost a lot of money with the old business, didn't you?
Well, we'd given £30,000 as like an interest-free loan. We lost that when the last business went down, so...
Having raised the money to support his father's business by substantially increasing his mortgage, Ross is now exposing himself to even more financial risk.
How are you doing now? I imagine getting credit is very difficult.
Yeah.
So how do you pay for goods?
I put them on my personal credit cards.
You fund the business, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
So that must be incredibly stressful for you.
Yeah.
So that helps me concentrate my mind, because knowing it's on your credit card, darling, makes me much more nervous.
Things are worse than I feared. It's not just the business at stake here, but Ross's personal financial future too. And the terrible truth is that if he can't get his dad to help him sort things out, there'll be no cash coming in. Both Ross and the business will be doomed.
I don't know what Alex will have to do to get him to change, really. Dad says he'll change, but it works for a month or so and then he changes back. We've been through this several times over the past 15 years.
Everyone seems to want to do the best they can here, but no one's really in charge. No one's stepping forward to take responsibility, and that's something I've got to change straight away. There's some glaringly obvious things to do here, and I'm going to start tackling them tomorrow.
It's the next morning and time to kick this family into action. Over the next 2 months, I'll need them to lay their power struggle to rest and work together to transform this place into a destination people will flock to year-round. But first, I want them to start erasing all signs of the old business and its dying stock. Ross has been battling his parents to clear out the greenhouse, but I'm hoping that with my support, this is a battle he can win.
Exhibit A, my friends. What does this add to the perception of your business?
Not a lot.
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
It's decrepit, it looks awful, it needs to go. All this stuff, why is it here? This is not inspirational. Is this a viable area or not? Come on, I'd like an opinion from each of you. What do you think, Joe? Come on, you must have an opinion.
I think lose it.
OK?
You give me a opinion and I'll just skip it.
Ross.
Just get rid of them and cut our losses.
What I'm not happy to do is run a garden centre that doesn't offer houseplants. Would it not be an idea to reduce the area down in here? Keep it open, have part of it open, because our investment in houseplants in the last 3 months has been about 200 quid.
How much have you made, Ross?
We haven't made anywhere near £200.
We haven't.
I just want to see some energy and some enthusiasm for change. I'm going to leave it up to you guys, you four, to do it. So can you start chucking out what needs chucking out, please?
It's not a great start. If they can't even agree on clearing this depressing space, what hope do I have of getting them to see eye to eye on how to push this business forward?
Got to keep these, haven't we?
Can I take some stuff down the tunnels and get so it's out of sight?
You can't do that with everything. That attitude has got to change, because this is a business. I don't think you're approaching this with quite the attitude. And look,
It goes against the grain for
I know.
horticulturalists to
I
chuck
know.
plants away.
I'm going to throw it away myself. I am, darling. Give it to me. This is clinging on. Please, be reasonable.
I'm going.
It costs £100 a month in heating to keep these houseplants alive, more than double the turnover they've been generating. David and Lynne seem blind to the economics of running a business.
We can buy them for like 30 pence.
I know, but is it going to cost us that much to heat them?
There has been an underlying tension this morning that I have yet to address. I really feel like a huge problem here is the fact that no one is the boss. So who tells who what to do, or when, or what? No one takes responsibility. But so I do think that there's a certain amount to which they're doing things to please me, but there's a deep underlying resistance.
Well, you've got little one or the big one?
Yeah.
No, which one do you want?
No, it's not but all.
Ross does at least have some support for change here from Jo. She's about to marry Ross's brother. I wonder what her take is on her future in-laws. So, are you pleased with how that went?
Yes. I'm a bit scared though,
Why?
because I think I might get in trouble afterwards.
In what way?
I just feel a bit...
Yeah. The reason I've involved you, Donnie, so much is Ross obviously really relies on you.
We work really well together, especially when it comes to throwing ideas about, and it's just a bit of a struggle to get from there to actually doing it. Everyone respects your decisions and your judgment, and I just hope that it is listened to. And
Well, we just have to find a better way for Ross and David to talk to each other.
definitely.
I mean, that is obviously the key to all these problems, and I think once we sort that out, everything else will become easier. But I'm going to sit down with them now and...
Bash their heads together.
Yes, I'm doing that next. It's always difficult for a son to manage his father. But unless David allows Ross to fully take the lead, this business will join DJ's on the scrap heap. There's no point me being here unless we get kind of stuff out of the way and out in the open. And we can't have a situation where you say we've got to clean out the old greenhouse and then a year and a half later it's still like that. That is not the idea of how good business works.
And we just argue about it every single decision, so you often don't talk about it because you're just going to have a row.
So why has it got so bad then?
He won't talk to me. He won't tell me what he's doing.
Do you think that's a fair comment?
And he won't involve me in what he's doing.
Do you think that's unfair? Well, just tell me.
Do I not? Do you involve me?
You look at it.
Well, tell me, because I don't know. I'm only here. I've walked in and I know
don't
what...
involve him because he don't hardly ever talk to me. And neither does Mum. Ever. And I mean, if they only talk to me when they got something to have a go at me about.
Oh, that's not fair.
You just don't...
Either I don't say it or you don't hear it.
Why is this a family business if you find it so impossible to work with each other? Why are you both of you here?
I had another job that I could have gone straight to when the business went down.
Do you regret it now?
Pretty much. But
do you think this is salvageable?
I just wanted to make it work. That's all I wanted to do.
I know,
it's just a point. It's just I want to make it a success. And
when I asked you yesterday who is the boss, you didn't say it's me.
because it isn't really.
I know, but...
Because I can't make a decision.
But I think, Donnie, we need to make you be that person.
Well, I'm fine with that. You've just got to let me do what needs to be done.
I'm happy to be the assistant.
Yeah, I understand that,
I'm
Donnie.
happy to be the advisor. But when I see something happening that I know is going to go wrong, I want to tell Ross and I want him to say, whoa, OK, Dad, I'll have a think about that. I just want that experience and that knowledge to be put to good use.
You know, you can't work like this. It's just impossible. You need to find in your heart 3 things your dad is really good at in business. And then you do the same for him, because if there's nothing you admire about the way the other works, then how can you work together? So you start.
His ability to do more than one thing at once. His understanding of figures. And just his staying power. Nowadays. Wasn't always like that.
Is it nice to have a compliment? Or do you not see it as them as compliments?
Quite now, the last one was a compliment, in all fairness.
Why?
Part where I didn't used to work.
So it was definitely a compliment.
Nothing to say.
I need 5 minutes.
OK. Clearly, Ross has trouble communicating with his father, and trying to move the pair of them forward only seems to be dragging up issues from the past. Why did you get so angry just then?
I wasn't angry as such. He makes it out to be a little bit different to what it really is when you're not here. I could be all smiley and that, but I just couldn't put an act on, so...
There's obviously really deep issues, and there's obviously big decisions that, have to be made if you're going to work together. I mean, this is a garden centre.
Yeah.
And you're not a gardener. So if you want to run a garden centre, you're going to need at least 1 or 2 gardeners involved.
Yep.
And you have them here, your parents.
Yep.
So what we need to do is manage them better. So can we just let that lie for a minute?
Yep.
And instead be proactive and think about what we have to do to go forward?
Yep.
All right?
That's fine.
These issues are not going to go away overnight. I just hope they can learn to put their differences to one side.
I do think Dad does still want to be the boss. I don't think he'll ever let it go. Never got on. This has gone on for like 16 years, so... But...
I'm very worried about the combination of what's clearly a huge hangover of resentment, very poor communication, an inability to work together, and this kind of financial knife edge that they're dancing on. It's a toxic combination, and one I'm going to have to manage very, very carefully if this place has any chance of succeeding. Ross clearly wants this business to succeed, but when the last one folded, he didn't expect to find himself in the driving seat.
When it went into liquidation, I thought that would be the end. I thought, yeah, let's just finish it off. It's been such hard work over the years. Let's just have a clean break, get new jobs.
However, after 30 years of hard work building it up, his dad wasn't prepared to just walk away.
We'd let people down, and I didn't like that at all. I decided to carry on because there is a responsibility. There is a responsibility for all those folk that are involved in this business.
But with David and Lynne approaching retirement age and still with a substantial mortgage to pay, Ross knew this business had to work to secure the future for his parents.
Didn't really have a choice because I didn't want to see them having to sell their house. They couldn't have carried it on without me to help them run it. So they're not very good at the business side of the business, and that's what ultimately ended the last one.
What neither David nor Lynne predicted was how much strain this decision would put on their relationship with their son.
Lynne and I have been here 30 years. We are at a really low ebb, but both of us, it's our life. But if it meant losing Ross as a son, I would pack this business up.
The day after I leave, the whole family do try their best to pull together.
Let's get these signs down.
They're finally ridding the place of its old identity and making it look like a business that means business.
Take these two out, it'll fall away. I was determined I was going to really try to do things in a more positive way. We've got to get this place sorted out.
Smashed myself in the face with that then.
You didn't, did you?
Nearly.
Ross and his dad appear to be turning over a new leaf.
I've noticed a difference this morning. Before it'd be, don't give you a chance before you can say what you want to get done. One down. Hopefully we can work as a team now, which will be good.
Now that the family have started clearing out the stuff they could never sell, the next challenge is to show them how to make the most of the stock they've got. So I've brought in Carl McKeever, a world expert in visual marketing, whose clients include retail giants like IKEA and Marks & Spencer. Hopefully he can help this family see the vital things they need to improve on.
Store layout matters because what you're trying to do is get customers to visit all parts of the space. Because if they visit all of the areas, you've got more chance they're going to buy.
Correcting a poor layout has been shown to increase sales instantly by up to 40%. It would be a boost this garden centre badly needs.
What we often find when we work with retailers is they get very snowblind to their own space. It's a little bit like always coming back to the same house each night. You become too used to all of those things.
Carl wants the family to witness just how confusing this place is to their customers. So the entire place has been rigged with hidden cameras to spy on how their clientele react to the layout of the shop. Someone is slowly approaching the entrance.
I think what's interesting, I'm not sure they were sure it was the entrance. They sort of looked a little bit hesitant outside. journey is completely random. He's sort of just drifting aimlessly around the space.
I found it very confusing. I had to ask the way when I got inside.
She's looking confused.
I don't know if she's trying to find a coffee shop.
Do you think?
She's actually heading out the right door, but there's nothing to point her in the right direction.
Do you think she even knows there's a cafe here?
I am sure she doesn't know there's a cafe here. As you're walking around, there's nothing to suggest to you this is where you stop off for your coffee.
I was looking for the cafe. When I came out, I looked back and I saw the cafe behind the fence.
She's into shopping mode, but again, it seems pretty random. She hasn't spent any time looking at any of the areas.
There wasn't anything to draw her to make her stop.
It was kind of a brisk sprint round, really.
And she's not the only one.
The thing that really strikes me is how little time they spend looking at any of the merchandise. They kind of literally get on the racetrack and then they're gone.
No sale.
Carl's convinced that in 1 hour, with just a few minimal changes, he can completely transform the way their customers shop. Carl's placing Christmas trees either side of the main door to create a pathway that should funnel people through the entrance.
We want another one of the same.
Colourful displays will make customers stop and linger in the shop for longer. And clear signs will make sure customers can find their own way round and that they don't miss out on any opportunity to part with their cash. The simple transformation is complete. With a newly decluttered till area, they're open for business. But will it have the desired effect?
Straight in, no hesitation.
Excellent. Ah, look, now she's stopping at our new focal point.
Our display.
She's spending loads more time in the shop than anybody else did earlier on.
Displaying products more imaginatively is already having an impact.
She's asked Greg to get a tea
When's the
light
last
down.
time you sold one of them?
A few months.
Yeah, not since the summer.
So I think I should be on commission today.
It's interesting because suddenly when now they're lit, they feel Christmassy.
And that's exactly the result we want.
1, 2.
Wow. But that's great, though, because every person that comes in, you're trying to convert them from being a browser into a buyer. And now we've got them browsing for longer, they're seeing things they like, and they're putting them in the basket. Also, now we've decluttered the cash desk. It looks more professional.
Absolutely. The umbrella's gone and you can see the till.
Exactly. It looks efficient, and it's a place where you can get good service, and that's what people want.
Their big, overlooked potential money spinner remains the cafe. Before Carl's changes, the only people who found it had to ask for directions.
Right.
So
New
is she
couple.
gonna go-
We're all she's.
With the new sign for the cafe placed just outside the exit, customers are finally finding their way in.
Yay! It feels like a personal victory every time. Oh God! So that is, you know, a full house. Every person who's come in since we changed the signage has gone into the cafe. Has to be good.
Brilliant.
With the change of layout, presentation and some simple signage, customers are now venturing further into the store. They're browsing for much longer, and the person behind the till is spending less time giving directions and more time taking money.
The tweaks that Carl made took an hour. So it's just having the guts to move things around, isn't it?
Yeah.
And knowing that you can't just leave things forever in the same spot. Encouraging, do you think?
Very, very.
Really, yeah, really. Fantastic. Good. This family learnt an enormous amount. They've had some very useful lessons. But the big question, of course, is are they going to be able to put all this new knowledge into practice to ensure that this space becomes a truly effective selling space? The other big question, of course, is are they going to be able to work together?
I want this family to revamp the whole of their garden centre in time for a relaunch event in just 6 weeks.
And freeze.
Ross and Joe have stepped up to the challenge and are starting by transforming the front greenhouse. But they're still struggling to get the older generation to support any of the changes.
Dave and Lynne left us to do this bit, and they've been outside in the shrubs and the back house and potting around.
It's all very well doing everything Alex says while she's here, as long as it's carried on as soon as she leaves.
There's been the odd row. There's been the odd moment of disagreement. It's not been smooth sailing at all.
Dave argues the most. I think he's just stuck in his ways. He's not open to change. It's like we're just always fighting to prove to him that we're doing it for the best for everyone, really.
It's this transition from Ross taking control. It's difficult, it's tricky, and it's really been hard work.
If I can get them to work with me rather than against me, then we'd be able to pull it together quite fast.
With the relaunch of the garden centre fast approaching, these divisions are in danger of hampering progress. But when I return, it does at least look like the first stage of the transformation is on track.
It looks amazing. I can't believe it, darling. You've done a big effort. It looks fab. So you're heating it? You've taken the... Are you heating?
No, there's no heat in it. No heat. All these plants will survive in it being cold.
This really shows that they're capable of moving in the right direction.
Has there been a good reaction from your customers?
Yeah, customers coming in have been like, wow, I can't believe it. So,
how much did this cost you to do?
about £50 for the primroses, and the rest was all around the garden centre.
So a lot of perspiration, quite a lot of inspiration, but not a lot of moolah.
No.
Good.
Hardly anything.
That's exactly the kind of proportions that I like to hear you spending. It's great, darling. I'm gobsmacked.
Good.
It's encouraging, but tackling the rest of the 6.5-acre site will be a mammoth task for Ross and Joe on their own. If he and his parents can't pull together, this business could find itself back on the compost heap.
I've got to ask you, because I can't let it drop. What are you going to do about you and your dad?
I am trying my hardest. I really am.
I would never put up working for my father, by the way, if I'd had the relationship with him like you do with yours. But I think, you're now the one in the position of power, darling, because without you, this whole thing can't continue. But they do have undeniable skills that you don't have. And I just think you've got to find a way to harness it.
Ross's attempts to get his parents to engage in anything other than the care of their plants are proving fruitless. David and Lynne may want this place to be a garden centre for gardeners, but I need to convince them to transform it into more of a gardening destination, so they're not still left exposed to the mercy of the British weather. To see one of the ultimate in destination businesses at work, I'm bringing them to the Wimpole estate. It's one of the most successful National Trust properties, attracting over 250,000 visitors a year. These may be figures they can only dream of, but there are some really valuable business lessons the family can learn.
I want you to take this opportunity to really think and try and discover why it is such a destination. I'm going to ask you to take photos of things that you think they do very well. So is this over to you, my darling?
Thank you very much.
Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much.
And I hope you enjoy it.
This family needs to find ways of attracting visitors to the garden centre that don't come solely for garden products. And I'm hoping this trip will feed their imaginations. Ross and Joe soak up the magnificent, stately home, but Wimpole has been careful to make the most of all its potential assets.
Just wondering what the most popular things around here are.
As far as the families go, it's probably the farm that's the main draw.
Hello, sweetie. Careful where you step.
And it's not just time that you're spending here.
Every aspect of the estate feeds into another aspect of the estate. And also, the reality is that the longer you can keep people here, the longer you can trap people on your grounds, the more money they inevitably spend.
David and Lynne have never been keen to prioritise profit over their love of plants.
Everywhere you go, there's something else.
I'm hoping to convince them they can combine the two.
Wine. It just seems to be every time you turn a corner, there's something else, a completely different range of goods for sale. Where the chickens are kept.
Oh, you can go and see them as well.
Food from the farm is served in the on-site restaurants, which makes up more than a third of visitor income.
Very busy at the weekends?
Yes, we have Victorian Christmas this weekend, and they were queuing up the garden from 11:30.
That must be a huge attraction.
It is.
The estate runs around 40 events throughout the year. These can treble their number of daily visitors and help draw in crowds in the slow winter months.
That's a beetroot.
There are lots of lessons they can apply to their business, but have they taken them on board? I've invited Sarah Merriman, whose job it is to ensure visitors here have the best possible experience, to judge if they're thinking along the right lines.
Over to you, darling.
Notices and signage. It's brilliant. Everywhere. Some of them are just chalkboards.
We've gone along the same line as Lynne and Dave, really, and really picked up on the signage to show that everything is interlinking with everything else. It's really visible throughout the whole.
Like on the vegetable patch, we grow it here and we use it in our restaurant, so it encourages people to go in the restaurant from there.
What you're picking up on is us pushing the commercial side of it, but we do want to make sure that they're encouraged to go into the next place. Do visit the walled garden, because that's where the vegetables came from.
That is what this was all about. It's keep them occupied enough that hours pass. They spend their money in various places, having a good time the whole while, and before you know it, an afternoon is gone.
People stay on average about 4 hours at Wimpole because we've got the house, the garden, the farm. We've got events going on almost every day.
The next one was the little pigs in the farm, but the farm is such a fantastic place, obviously for children. It must be amazing.
And if the children are happy, then the adults are going to be happy.
Definitely.
And one thing there,
Yeah.
do you notice something? Not a plant?
A large part of this estate is the garden. This is not a time of year when people come and see gardens. Well, how do you get over that? You tempt them in by other means. Doesn't mean that you ignore your core business. It just means that temporarily it's put to one side and you concentrate on something else. Do you think that there are lessons there that we can extrapolate for your business?
I think we've got to now maybe all work together to bring every age group in and keep them there. So I think I would take a lot home today, thank you.
Good, I'm glad.
David and Lynne really do seem ready to move on from the mistakes of the past.
We learnt a lot. They are telling everybody everywhere about what they're doing. Telling you about the restaurant when you're in the shop, telling you about the shop when you're in the restaurant or whatever, and it's really, really clever.
We focus too much on the garden centre as such, on the plants. I think we need to diversify more to get people to stay longer.
I'm hoping this family can draw on their inspiration from this to come up with an event to draw crowds in the winter. But the bigger issue remains. They'll only pull it off if they can put their differences aside and work together.
How are you going to get what you learnt today and transfer that to your place? I mean, that's the challenge, isn't it?
I've seen 1,000 things here today that I think we could take back to our business. And getting them put into the business would help a great deal. But if it's good, do it. But we are frightened.
Upsetting everybody else.
And we do it
But
constantly.
all upsetting each other. And, you know, the boring thing is, and then nothing much is going to change. We need to feel like everyone's working towards a common goal.
When you left, we just started taking the old stuff off the shelves and doing whatever.
No, honestly.
No, but you and Lynne went outside, so we just carried on inside, and I think we just kind of did go our separate ways and concentrate on an area each.
Yeah, we didn't always want to be there. We'd have been like to be with you.
I
We'd
know.
like to have been part of that
but I
team.
think we just thought you was getting on.
If you could come and help and do stuff. Don't have to kind of ask people to come and help. Like, we're out there in the rain all day Saturday and no one come out there then.
So that's the thing.
We can't relate together. I love the guy to pieces. I don't want to be rowing.
Just tell me your point of view. I want to hear it. I want to help you make it better. I know, well, so don't walk away. Every time we have a tough conversation. Okay, well, I feel really devastated for them that they are so incapable, any of them, of growing up and just facing some of their issues and talking about them. They show such utter lack of respect for each other that I'm not quite sure where they go from here.
Over the next couple of weeks,
I've done 3 shelves and 2 of these.
David and Ross force themselves to work together on transforming the garden centre, but tensions continue to rise.
It's not a good situation at the moment because no matter what I do around here, no one's ever happy.
And relationships are becoming more fractured.
I think Ross and Dave's relationship is going to suffer if it doesn't change. There'll be nothing left of them, I don't think, if it carries on how it is, because they can't work together.
We're in a rut at the moment. We're stuck in a really, really bad place. Okay, for level? We don't want to be at war. We want to be enjoying a family life inside a business, which is proving very, very difficult.
I don't think my dad realises the sacrifices I made, like 3 kids, living in one room in my house because the money's tied up in this business. I don't want to go home stressed to the nines when I've got little kids at home that I just want to be happy with. So.
2 weeks after I last saw them, there's a dramatic turn of events. Ross decides that the stress of working with his father has got too much. And when he's offered a way out, a job outside the family firm, he feels he has no option but to take it.
Hello, hello. The has clearly hit the fan. Was there anything specific that made you decide finally that enough was enough?
Just sort of realise that they don't want to change to my way of thinking, so they want it to be theirs again. I think that's what it is deep down. So.
I know, but they tried it and they ended up failing.
Yeah, it's just everything. I can't battle with them for every single thing.
No,
you know,
and I agree,
crazy.
Donnie. I think for your mental health and for theirs and for their sanity too. I mean, I don't think it's good for anybody.
No.
You had a very firm financial grip on everything, and I'm not sure that he's got quite that ability. I'm just not quite sure how it's going to stagger on here, if you think that it can without you.
You keep telling me they can, so...
The timing couldn't be worse. There's less than 4 weeks to the relaunch, and there's masses still to do. Can David and Lynne really make this work without their son?
I had a good chat with Ross, and it sounds as if you and Ross are going to be parting company amicably.
Oh, absolutely.
And I want to feel positive about everything. I'm incredibly nervous for you. All the stuff like the financial stuff that Ross had such a grip on is now going to be, over to you to continue in that vein. Because, you've got some way to go before you're not living hand to mouth again.
And in your opinion, are we capable of that?
I think it's all up to you. I'm going to get Carl to come and help you go through this whole place. But I have to say to you, my concern is, unless we really fundamentally try and change, it's not going to make enough of a difference. All right, well, I'll look forward to my next visit.
Thank you.
I can see that Ross leaving is the best thing for the family, but whether it's the best thing for Oak Garden Centre remains to be seen.
I love Ross to pieces, and parting company in business is going to be the way, but at least I won't lose him as a son.
It all now rests on David and Lynne's shoulders to take the business forward. A fortnight later, they're in the midst of their quietest period of the year.
I think Alex hasn't got the confidence that Lynne and I can do this without Ross. I'm sure it won't be as easy without Ross as it would have been, but we haven't got a choice. Got to do it.
They've decided to relaunch the garden centre with a winter market. They finally seem in tune with my wish to turn it into a destination. And they're not doing it by halves. They've invited 40 local stallholders to set up shop in the garden centre, but there's just days to go to pull it off.
So we're asking all stallholders if he could get here any time after 1.
Ross has agreed to look after the accounts until they find a replacement, but his absence as manager has left a big hole in the business, so Joe's stepping up.
I've taken it upon myself to do a plan of action and write down what needs doing, just trying to keep the momentum going.
And David and Joe are planning a major promotional push to get as many people to the event as possible.
We need, if we can, to try and get some free advertising on it of
So
a
like
new
phone up the
business.
local radio
Yeah.
stations and
Yeah.
hopefully get loads of people up here, get it filled, have a great atmosphere and sell lots.
This is their one chance to show off a completely revamped space that will wow customers. They can't afford to mess this up, so I've sent in Carl and his team to help with the final transformation.
Stripping away all of this side, and then I'll show you where she would like to put it.
No problems, I'll get a trolley.
We've taken down a lot of the high shelving that was blocking views through to the outdoor planting areas, so that we've got this sense of the outdoors coming in.
We are re-merchandising the whole place. It's going to be awesome.
I presume it has to get worse before it gets better.
Carl's grouping the products into distinct and logical zones
It needs to go this way.
and has put up clear signage so people can actually find what they're looking for.
Carl's idea is to put all the gardening goods in this shop and the luxury goods in that shop. So people have to walk past it to get to it. Clever thinking.
They're now proudly shouting the new company name, and all the greenhouses are starting to look welcoming and attractive. It's an ambitious overhaul that will be wasted if it's not finished on time.
We've got to have confidence, confidence, confidence.
It's now just a matter of hours before the relaunch, and there's still work to be done. But things are looking promising.
Ooh, very nice.
The drab, dying plants have been replaced by seasonal, flourishing ferns.
Good Lord. Where's it all gone?
And with the dead stock junked, they've made space for eye-catching displays that tempt you to stop and shop. But the last few months have been an emotional ride for David.
There were times when we didn't think we'd get it back round again. And now there's a glimmer of hope. There's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And it's great. When you've got a team like we've got trying to do it, it's great.
If the winter market isn't a success, all the hard work to get the place complete will be in vain. And with Ross gone, it's up to Joe to make sure this event gets David and Lynne completely on board with making the place a destination.
I don't know if that's going to stay.
Joe,
Hi.
how's it going?
Feeling a little bit anxious, a bit stressed.
About
Just
what aspect of it?
Just that I want everybody to come and just be ready, and I kind of feel that if it doesn't, it's going to be my head on the chopper block.
No, darling, you've done a great job.
She's not the only one who's worried.
It's making me incredibly nervous because we have a huge effort, both from the family and from all these stallholders involved. What is against us is that it is a fairly miserable Friday in January, and I don't know how many people are going to bother to show up.
Time to hit the local streets.
Do you want one?
Would you like a flyer?
Thank you very much.
As they're 2 miles out of town, they've had the clever idea of laying on their own transport.
Yeah, I did look at this actually.
And
on the
there's a
signpost.
free shuttle bus.
They can only hope that someone's on it. Back at the garden centre, there are a few last-minute hiccups, but they make it just in time for the doors to open. I just hope the weather doesn't put everybody off. Thankfully, the place soon starts to fill up. But will people like what they see?
Quite a display.
It's nice to walk into.
It's really nice to see the place full of people, and loads of really good comments already about how good the place is looking.
With the relationship between Ross and his father beginning to heal, he's turned up to support his parents.
So, what do you think of this event?
I've never seen this many people here in January, so it's got to be good.
I see you're holding a carrier bag.
I am. Got
So
some
you-
nice plants that have brightened up my front steps.
Oh, I'm so pleased.
They're lovely.
I felt the changes were amazing.
Good, wasn't
Yes, yes, the whole place is much tidier.
Lynne's learnt the lessons from Wimpole and is promoting the cafe with a cake stall selling their produce.
There we go. That's lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you.
But the biggest hit of the day is David's launch of the new Kids Gardening Club.
Put it into soil. That will grow into a cress
You
plant.
do his face, his eyes at the top, and then we'll do a smile and that at the bottom, OK?
So many kids here, there's so many parents here, and these are all customers who could potentially come back again and again to this garden centre. I hope I'm looking at the future of our garden centre.
It should give the family the confidence to run similar events, but that's only possible if the stallholders feel like it's been worth their while.
How have you done?
Quite well. It's been quite busy today, yeah.
And would you consider coming back and doing this again?
Definitely.
You, sir, I believe, have done quite well today.
We've done really, really well. Very, very pleased with it.
How has today been for you?
Very successful.
Do you think that this is something that you might be interested in doing again?
Yes, definitely. It'd be lovely to have something local.
Been amazing. Really, really pleased. All those kids in the kids club tonight with smiles and the laughs, and you know, it's really great.
I think we've got a new positive image about the town, about us now.
I think it's a great success. Didn't think it was going to be at this time of the year.
A real boost. This is how it should always be.
David and Lynne can now see the point of a garden centre that's not just for gardeners. But that is worth nothing unless they've made some money.
Do you have any idea of the kind of money that we made?
Altogether £1,875.
Great. So, would you have turned over that kind of money on a normal Friday night in January? I don't think you can consider this anything except a resounding success.
I think that is a phenomenal success in January. We couldn't expect to take that.
I'm really pleased. You know, I'm leaving you thinking that there's a kind of fair following wind.
And we're very positive, I think, aren't we?
Very.
Very positive.
The cautionary things I've got to say to you are be careful about your buying, be careful about the figures, because that's the only thing that can derail you, I think, at the moment. Otherwise, you know, I'm leaving in unusually good cheer.
Do you know your tyres are slashed?
I'm in here for the winter.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks,
I
Alex.
really hope it goes well.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. Thank
Good.
you ever so much.
Pleasure.
A month later, and it's still early days. But are there signs showing that Oak Garden Centre has continued to grow, or have the old problems resurfaced?
Thank you. Since the winter market, there's definitely been some new faces around, and there's definitely been an increase in footfall, which is great news.
They're applying the lessons they learnt from Carl, displaying products to show them off to their full potential, and extending the makeover to the rest of the space.
I just love it. We've all put our own little bit into it. It's got a new feel about it.
We've just got the bug, and we've just tried to change as much as we can.
And the tips from the Wimpole estate have also taken root.
The idea of these beds is to grow vegetables to use in the coffee shop.
In Ross's absence, younger brother Brad has stepped in to manage the place.
Well, that's what we need to spend this year.
Partnered by fiancé Joe.
I'm enjoying my new responsibilities, but not just on the till and making teas and coffees and doing bits and bobs. I've got a role now.
And thankfully, they seem to have got the finances in order. Turnover is up by 5%, and they're already planning an Easter market to pull in the crowds.
We need to run the business in such a way that we don't leave ourselves open to a problem. I can't put people through, and I can't go through what we've been through this last year. I'm not going to get myself in that situation.
And it's not just their business life that has improved.
Ross's decision was a really, really brave move on his part.
He seems to be a lot happier as well. I think everybody's maybe in the right situation now, doing the right things.
We've got him back as a son. There's no problems outside of work at all. And now there's no problems at work. So hopefully we can move forward and have a great life. And I wish him all the best, because he deserves it.